Yeah, so let's begin. Welcome to Inner Chatter.
Hello, everybody, to our podcast.
To all of our fans out there. Wow, welcome. Yeah, this is our podcast.
Our passion project.
Our passion project, yeah. We've both been wanting to make a podcast for a long time.
A long time.
And then we were just lucky enough to find each other where we are now. And I mean, I'm assuming it's for similar reasons, but for me, it's like I want to talk about positive psychology and like spread goodness to people and help them gain a better control over the self, because I think that we in the system we're within don't give us enough credit. Yeah,
I think that's a big point for me as well. I also want to make people realize they're not alone within themselves. Yeah. And that make them feel like they're here with us as we have these conversations, because a lot of people lack these type of like talks with their friends that really go into deep places. And I think that's important.
Yeah.
So I care about people, you care about people, and here we are.
And here we are, Inner Chatter.
Inner Chatter.
So this week, since it's our first week, we kind of wanted to just, first tell you a little bit about ourselves, and then next week we'll have like more of like a expose on like our inner lives and inner workings.
Our inner people.
Our inner people, yes. And this week, we also want to describe, like, we call it the people in our head.
Yes.
Which is, like, basically the concept of this entire podcast is...
who the person in your head is.
Who the person in your head is. Who the part of you that the rest of the world doesn't explicitly see is.
Yeah, your anxieties, your moments of joy, when you're alone, all the above.
All the above, yeah. So, I'm Leo. I'm 26. My birthday was yesterday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. And I'm studying positive developmental psychology at Claremont Graduate University. It's such a long phrase, you know? It really sounds so self-masturbatory when I say it. And I'm like, no.
It's like such a big title.
Such a title, yeah.
But it's big work.
Big work.
Big work.
Positive psych and mindfulness really helped me get out of quite a pit. And like we said, like as the episodes go on and next time too, you'll get more insight into what that pit is and what overcoming it looked like. But it really like changed my life and saved my life. And I just want to be able to give that to other people in any way that I can. And like this podcast is a really accessible way to do that. And there's nobody better to do it with. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I'm just so excited.
Me too, I know.
This is like a little quest we're going on. Thank you for your intro. Wow. My name's Shani. I'm 22 years old. My birthday is in April. So like not
Happy early birthday.
Yeah, I'm also doing positive developmental psychology at Claremont Graduate University. It kind of rhymes. I'm really passionate about the concept of play. You know this. My friends know this. I really encourage play, and I think it's so important and fundamental to us as humans. And I'm really fascinated by research that has to do with embracing play and flow and bringing together your community. And we share that. We are both big community people. But yes.
Will you say more about like what play is?
Yes. So to me, play is allowing yourself to be silly without anxieties, to just immerse yourself in the environment in any way that you want that nourishes you and your inner child. An inner child is a term that's thrown around a lot, and it like, it's getting a little gimmicky, I would say.
Yeah.
So I'm not a huge fan of saying the inner child, but I think just nourishing the part of yourself that isn't confined by societal bounds, like hasn't been tamed by all these constructs that we live around.
Yeah. Innocent, unfiltered playfulness.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Okay, so should we
dive
get to
right
it?
in?
All
Yes.
right.
Okay.
So like we said, inner chatter, and that's really about the person in our head. And this week we wanted to just talk a little bit about what the person in our head is, and like the different parts of it that make it up. And I think this is just like a good blanket for all the different things that we might talk about, because man, there's going to be a list. Oh wait,
yeah,
we should get into that. Yeah.
We should explain what this podcast is.
Yeah, totally.
So it's going to be conversational
Mm-hmm.
in our little cozy nest right here.
Our little corner.
Our little corner of
your apartment.
My apartment.
Oh, you were going to say something cute.
I was going to say
our
something
little corner of love. Yeah.
but the corner of my apartment. So welcome home, everyone. Oh yeah, conversational, and we want to interview people too.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Mm-hmm. And integrate some like studies and empirical work.
Yes.
Based on like positive psych, mindfulness.
We also want to incorporate some like fun research we found and like bring that to each other too.
Yeah, just like nerd out about it because we
Yes.
care about the same stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's good.
Yeah, I think that's everything.
Yeah.
For now. It might
For now.
build, but
yeah, who knows?
now,
We're just keeping all the doors open.
Yeah.
So, not inner child.
Yeah, person in your head.
Person in your head.
Person in your head.
I say inner child because, as you know, like my past stuff, I imagined it as like my trauma and crap as a 9-year-old version of me.
Yeah.
But person in your head is bigger than that, because it's not just about your trauma or anxiety or depression. It's about like that playfulness, like you were talking about. Yeah.
So what does the person in your head sound like?
Gosh, I mean, I guess it depends, because it really depends on like the situation, you know? If I'm dealing with something difficult in a moment, then the person in my head is typically saying, in some way, take a step back.
Yeah.
You will overcome this situation. And here's ways that like you can think either more positively or more mindfully about this situation. And like in the silly times, like I think you talk about this better than I do. I want to hear what you have to say about that. Yeah. About the person in your head in the playful time.
The playful time. I like to call it playtime. The person in my head. So your person in your head sounds like they're very supportive. They kind of nurture you throughout your moments. My person is very silly. That's how I approach difficulties in life. I have this like saying I came up with when I was about 13, and it's either gonna be fun or it's gonna be funny. And you can approach any moment in your life with that idea, because if you fail at it, there'll be a funny aspect to that. Like when you got stung by a stingray. Like, like in the moment, I'm sure it was painful, but
I was able to laugh at it too.
Yeah, you were able to laugh.
Yeah.
And then it's either gonna be fun, and that's just a way of reframing too, like anxiety into excitement. Excitement is fundamentally fun.
Yeah.
So I kind of developed, and to an extent trained my mind to have this perspective, and I don't think it's something that initially came too easy. I think I had a lot of anxieties, and the person in my head wasn't intrinsically this like super positive, like playful person.
No, yeah, of course not.
Yeah, you've experienced that too.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so beautiful about that person in there, is that they're dynamic. And
And they grow.
Yeah. Which is another huge topic. Growth.
Well, especially, like, the system that we're in many ways, oh, God, we're going to get into this, but, like, in many ways, it doesn't tell people that they are capable of growth. Yeah.
That's very true. You have a counseling background, and you know a lot about the DSM, and how it's silly.
And how it's silly. That's a nice way to put it.
That's a nice way to put it. And that really does kind of tell you and diagnose you and label you with a disease. And I feel like for a lot of people that limits their capability of believing they can grow because they're being, like, prescribed a disease.
And you're coming from, like, a psilocybin DMT background where, like, you're exploring the potential of alternative treatments to encourage, like, neural growth and like physiological reframing. And
our perspectives are going to play a really interesting role throughout all of these conversations we have. Because although we're very similar, we also have, like, very different experiences
and backgrounds. You're an Israeli from Switzerland. I am a queer Jewish human from Colorado.
Who lived in LA.
I know. I just don't like saying I'm from LA. Like,
and we both serve.
Yes. We're learning together. On the note of, like, maybe I should say this one, but we can get more into it in the future too. The person in your head and, like, their capability of growth, like, and psilocybin, I think too. The pathways that we use in our mind, like, we associate them so heavily as, like, this is who I am now and forever. And in a lot of ways, the system tells us that as well. But, like, every thought, every behavior, every action, every unhealthy and healthy coping mechanism is just a pathway, like a waterway, that's been deepened over time as the water has run through it. And, like, we are capable of instilling new pathways, but initially that water is going to be a trickle, and that pathway is not going to be well formed. It's going to be, like, cascading over the right and the left, and, like, we're not really going to be sure what to do, but both of us share the belief that, like, the people in our head, which really are just the amalgamation of those pathways, are capable of real sustainable growth and change.
And when you, like, are able to converse with that person in your head, you can reframe anything you encounter. When you realize you're an active agent in the change you experience in life. And you have an active role in creating meaning in your life too, which is also another topic we'll probably have a whole episode on. Oh God,
I'm sure. Maybe even two.
So this episode is more like we're kind of tiptoeing around all the little places we're gonna touch. Like
a surface level tour, you know, and we're not going into any of the buildings. We're just saying, on your right is this building, on your left is this building. Gosh, I feel like
we did it. Like, I think that introduced us, the podcast.
A little bit about our beliefs and ourselves.
Like, that was beautiful.
I thought that was beautiful too. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.